Hey there, Wendy here with Jazzydoodledesigns, and today I thought we would do, let's find it, this page here. So I am going to use the same colors that I did on this page, so let's get started. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I just want to point out I'm going to be using Polychromos colored pencils, and I'm going to use the exact same pencils that I used for page 19. Now, another thing you should notice at the end of the video, I am going to be using a gold Posca pen on both page 18, the one I'm working on now, and page 19, the one that we did last week. I felt when I did page 19, I mentioned that I was considering using like a gold ink, but I wasn't sure. And now that I've used it on this page, I definitely wanted to bring it into the page next door. So you will see me doing that. The other thing that I used is a product called Art Deco. It's a nail art. I got this at the dollar store, and it's a nail polish. It's designed to draw designs on your nails. So it has a very long brush. And I don't know why. It was sitting in some stuff that I was going through the other day. And I thought, oh, that's kind of fun. So I decided to use it in my pages. Now, normally, I'm not a big fan of using household products such as hairspray and Vaseline and different things like that, just simply because they're not archival, and they can really expedite the yellowing process, so you do have to be a little careful. But I thought I would throw caution to the wind and use it on this page in very small amounts. Now, there are there are archival products that you can spray on your pages to help reduce the acidity. You know, these are my coloring books. They don't get a lot of air. Yes, they're going to yellow over time. That's the reality of it. You can use fixatives, you can use the archival products, and that will slow things. But they're going to be fine. I'm not terribly worried about it because I'm not commissioning my art. Now, obviously, if you're looking to sell your art, first of all, you're probably not watching my channel unless you need some amusement in your life. But, these aren't the kind of things that you would want to use if you were to commission art, just because they can really speed up the yellowing process or the deterioration or whatever you want to say. But anyway, I thought this was a very fun page, and I'm really enjoying when I use the same colors on both pages. One, it forces me into a color palette. It's also something that I look at when I'm creating a page. You certainly don't have to do this, but by doing this, it was like the palette was already, I always joke, I don't mind making dinner. I hate coming up with what to make for dinner. If someone says to me, Mom, I really want spaghetti for dinner. Now my kids are grown and have their own house, so this isn't happening anymore. But if someone says, I want spaghetti for dinner, I'm like, done. I know how to make spaghetti. I find the ingredients. I make the spaghetti. It's not that hard. But trying to come up with, what am I going to have? Do I have the ingredients for it? All those things is what makes it more difficult, right? I look at it the same way with coloring. If I know this is the page I'm going to do, and these are the colors I'm going to use, right? And I've limited myself to those, then it is so much easier to take on the page and make it work. at least for me. And I think that's why people are drawn to things like Sarah Renee Clark's, the color palettes. I have them. I don't use them a whole lot. I should use them. I bought them because I am going to be doing some challenges for myself using alcohol markers and kind of diving into the cute and cozy, thing that's all the rage, those kind of coloring books. I do plan on doing some of that because I think that kind of stuff is fun. To me, it's a little different than what I'm doing here. And I like that. I like learning and I like challenges and I like that kind of stuff. I think it really depends on the person and what you're doing coloring for. For me, I love the idea of learning how to make something look like I want it to look. So I like learning glitter technique or cobblestone or whatever, those kind of things, because when I pull it off, the serotonin rush is amazing. It's or dopamine, I don't know, the feel good juice that runs through you. I really like. And I've always been this way. I enjoy the learning process probably more than the actual doing process. I always joke that I'm a better supervisor than I am an actual doer, like a worker bee, because I am good at the planning. I'm good at seeing what needs to happen and less good at doing said thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm happy with my pages. I consider myself a good colorist, but at the same time, I enjoy keeping challenging myself. I'm sorry, my grammar today is a little uh, lacking, but I do enjoy the challenge of that. Some people enjoy the actual, just the physical doing of it. And I was talking to my friend and I was like, yeah, I just needed a really easy page the other day. And so I had bought a color by number, and it's a Creative Haven. It's the Route 66. And I do plan on doing a haul soon because, y'all, I haven't done a haul in 6 months. Now, I'm not going to show every product because some of them, I did like the fine liner challenge and the colored pencil review and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to pull out everything, but I am going to show some of the products that I use. And I gotta say, it was fun just doing something different that I didn't have to think about. Also, my husband jokes whenever I color like on the couch or I don't record it, he calls it coloring for free. I guess he's been doing that ever since I started my YouTube channel, even back before I was monetized. And he's always teasing me, hey, don't be coloring for free, which I think is funny. But, I think there is a gift in that. A gift in giving yourself permission to just color for free, for fun, for who cares what it turns out like, or who cares if it's a color by number or a simple page. And I had really been kind of craving that. So I also did a page in the Grumpy Friends book, which, if you're new to the channel, you need to look up the Grumpy Friends flip through. It's a book that I'm not 100% convinced wasn't helped along with AI, but it was done by a therapist that was using these pages to help her patients with mindfulness and, kind of escaping your thoughts and all of that. And it's got cute little grumpy faced animals doing delightful things. And the page I colored was for the Facebook group June Bugs. which was a challenge for June. So each month we have a challenge where you can color in any book, and there's a different prompt. And this time was bugs, because June bugs, why not? And so I colored a little spider from that page, and the little phrase at the bottom is make sure you take your prescription medicines. And it just shows this little spider with the little pill bottles, and he's just so stinking cute with his little grumpy face. So anyway, am I blathering? Yep, but that's why you're here, right? To listen to me blather? Oh, you're not? Okay. Well, then let's move along. I thought maybe I would read off some interesting dragonfly facts since we're coloring a dragonfly. So, prepare yourself. Okay, so what does it mean to prepare yourself? Grab snackies. Grab a drink. We've got about 20 minutes, and so I pulled up a site to talk about dragonflies. So let's go. Okay, so I thought we would start with just a basic definition. So according to Wikipedia, a dragonfly is a flying insect belonging to the Odonata family. It has 3,000 species of dragonflies are known. Most are tropical, with fewer species in temperate regions. Loss of wetland habitat threatens dragonfly populations around the world. Adult dragonflies are characterized by a pair of large, multifaceted compound eyes, 2 pairs of strong, transparent wings, sometimes with colored patches, and an elongated body. Many dragonflies have brilliant, iridescent, or metallic colors produced by structural coloration, making them conspicuous in flight. And an adult dragonfly's compound eyes have nearly 24,000 omadia. Okay? I think they mean little eyeball receptacles. Dragonflies can be mistaken for the closely related damselflies, which make up the other orders and are similar in body plan, although usually lighter in build. However, the wings of most dragonflies are held flat and away from the body, while damselflies hold their wings folded at rest along or above the abdomen. Dragonflies are agile flyers, while damselflies have weaker, fluttery flight. Dragonflies make use of modern camouflage when attacking prey or rivals. Now, because Wikipedia gets crazy and starts, like using really big words and such, I am going to switch to another website that just has simple facts. Modern dragonflies have wingspans between 2 and 5 inches, slash 5 to 12 centimeters. Fossils of dragonflies show that they had wingspans of up to 2 feet. Now that would be crazy. That would be kind of scary, actually. By placing dragonfly larvae in special chambers that mimic the Earth's oxygen levels from 300 million years ago, scientists have grown supersized dragonflies. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. That are 15% larger than normal. There are over 5,000 species of dragonflies. They all belong to the order Odonata, which means toothed one in Greek. Dragonfly larvae eat just about anything, including tadpoles, fish, mosquitoes, and even each other. In many cultures, it is considered good luck if a dragonfly lands on your head. Dragonflies can eat while they're flying. Well, what are they eating while they're flying? I don't see them eating tadpoles. Okay. The flight of the dragonfly is so efficient It has inspired scientists to make robots that fly like them. Some species of dragonfly live only a few weeks, while others can live up to a year. Dragonflies likely see better than humans. They can even see ultraviolet light. A single dragonfly can eat 30. I am so embarrassed. I don't know where the yawns came from. A single dragonfly can eat 30 to hundreds of mosquitoes per day, making them a natural mosquito control. Dragonflies are expert flyers. They can hover like a helicopter, fly straight up and down, and even mate in midair. The globe skimmer dragonfly can fly across oceans nonstop. The 1.5-inch insect logs 11,000 miles. The globe skimmer dragonfly can fly across oceans nonstop. The 1.5-inch insect logs 11,000 miles, giving them the title of world's largest insect flyers, able to fly for longer periods of time than any other insect on Earth, including the monarch butterfly. Wow, I didn't know that. Dragonflies are such efficient hunters they have a 95% success rate in killing their prey. Dragonflies were among the first winged insects to evolve, taking flight over 300 million years ago. While dragonflies can rip their prey to shreds mid-flight with their sharp teeth, luckily dragonflies can't bite humans. Most dragonfly species don't have a mandible strong enough to break human skin. Dragonflies have 2 sets of wings that can work independently. Dragonflies are both agile and fast flyers, flying between 17 and 38 miles an hour. That's 27 to 61 kilometers per hour for all of my foreign friends. While most insects cannot live in the ocean, some dragonfly species, such as the seaside dragonlet, produce offspring in the water several times saltier than the ocean. The dragonfly nymph breathes through its anus. Additionally, when a dragonfly expels water from its anus, it's propelled forward, which helps the nymph move around. There are several dragonflies in the genus Agrocenemus that take the title of smallest dragonfly. They have a wingspan of just 17 to 18 millimeters or 7/10 of an inch. That's tiny. Dragonflies beat their wings about 30 times per second. By comparison, bees beat their wings about 300 times per second. Because dragonfly eyes have about 30,000 lenses, it can see nearly 360 degrees. So I guess there ain't no sneaking up on them. That's kind of funny because in Animal Crossing, they're not that hard to catch. Okay, that was a sidebar. The largest currently living dragonfly is the Pedalura gigantissima from Australia, with a wingspan of 16 centimeters or 6.2 inches. The ones I see around here, I want to say, are about 2 to 3 inches. Their wings are. No, maybe about 2. I wouldn't go so far as to say 3 usually. Sometimes a little smaller. How about where you live? Let me know in the comments if you guys see dragonflies where you live. Dragonflies will rapidly flap their wings to warm up their bodies. Some dragonflies even use their wings as reflectors, tilting them to direct solar radiation to their bodies. A dragonfly can open its mouth as wide as its entire head. What? Let me read that again. A dragonfly can open its mouth as wide as its entire head. Okay. In Indonesia, dragonflies are considered to be a delicious snack. Dragonflies are not related to flies. Because male dragonfly stores its sperm in separate place than its copulary organ, it must transfer its sperm to its penis each time it mates. I don't know why I find that funny, but I do. It's like, you gotta work for it, dragonfly. And number 30, even though dragonflies have 6 legs, like all insects do, they cannot walk. Okay, I want to know how many of you are still thinking about the dragonfly that has to transfer its sperm in order to go copulate. The 7-year-old in me is delighted. So apologies. Okay, dragonflies spend most of their lives as nymphs, which is their larval form, in the water, sometimes for as long as 5 years. Eventually, the nymph will crawl out of the water and shed its skin to become an adult dragonfly. The adult dragonfly stage of its life is much shorter, sometimes only a few months or a year. Unlike many common garden insects, dragonflies are carnivores, meaning they feed on other creatures. They feed on insects, fish, tadpoles, and other tiny creatures during different stages of its life. As a nymph, it feeds on mosquito larvae and other aquatic insects. Adult dragonflies feed on insects caught in the air. They eat mosquitoes, biting flies, mayflies, and other insects. So, this is another website with some fun facts. So we may have some repeats, so apologies in advance. Dragonflies are fast flyers. They can fly at speeds up to 34 miles an hour. They can hover mid-flight, fly right, left, up, down, forwards, even backwards. They can accelerate with a lot of force compared to their body size. The G-force a dragonfly makes during a turn can be as high as 9 times the force of gravity. While flying in a straight line, it can be as high as 4G. That's a lot of G's for such a small insect. In comparison, most humans will pass out around 4 to 5 G's. So, we're not designed to fly, I guess. Dragonflies are found on every continent except for the Antarctica. There are over 5,000 species of dragonflies, mostly found in the tropics. Some of them migrate. We talked about that, the 11,000-mile journey of the globe skimmer. I want to meet one of those guys. To cool off, dragonflies will skim the surface of a pond or a lake to drop their body temperature, because then when they fly and the water evaporates off, it cools them. They gather in, there are 2 types of swarms that dragonflies gather in, one for migration and one for feeding. If you see a group of dragonflies hovering a few feet over the ground, flying back and forth in the same area, they are feeding. Dragonflies see ultraviolet light, which helps them to better see their prey. And they do not sting. Instead, they use their amazing flying skills and ability to track the movement of prey to catch insects mid-flight using their legs to hold their prey. So that gave us a few extra fun things. See if we can find out a few more. Dragonflies are older than dinosaurs. That is crazy if you think about it. Damselflies are often confused with dragonflies. We talked about this a little. The key is in their wings. A dragonfly has 4 wings, while a damselfly only has 2. And when a dragonfly rests, they spread their wings out horizontally, whereas damselflies tuck their wings in against their body. Okay. Talked about dragonflies being world-round, living in water. One of the interesting things is that when dragonflies can control all 4 of their wings independently, So they can hover like helicopters, fly staggeringly slow or as fast as an arrow, and even change direction on a pin by beating all four wings in sync with each other. They can also free glide, with some females gliding behind males while mating mid-flight. They are some of the most efficient hunters in the world. Adult dragonflies are predators living off almost exclusively a carnivorous diet based on insects such as mosquitoes, flies, and moths, and smaller dragonflies. And we talked about how they could catch them mid-flight, but they are able to catch up to 95% of all the prey they choose to hunt, which in contrast, I think I read that lions only are like 2 out of 10 attempts will be successful. And when they do catch something, they immobilize it by biting its head. Then they usually perch somewhere and enjoy their meal on the spot, but they can eat it while flying. They're also calculated. They don't just outspeed them, but they actually can figure out how fast they're flying and what direction they're heading and actually cut them off, which is wild. Like, to think that they have the ability to quote unquote think. I mean, they're not just, I think we underestimate animals, don't you? I know I do. I'm always amazed at what they can do. Let's see. A certain species of dragonfly called the Australian emperor dragonfly has been recorded to use a method called motion camouflage during territorial flights with other male dragonflies. To put simply, they fly in a certain direction to appear as if they aren't moving at all. It's simply an illusion, though they are actually moving rapidly towards them. It works by moving in such a flight path that it always is in a position between the target and the location that it started attacking from. Dragonflies have long been considered evil in Western culture. Dragonflies have many names across Europe, yet all of them tend to attribute some kind of evil or sinister aspect to them. The Norwegian name translate into eye poker, and the Portuguese name translate into eye snatcher. The most horrific of them all comes from North America, the devil's darning needle. A darning needle is a large, blunt needle that is used to repair holes or worn areas in clothing or other pieces of fabric. The legend behind dragonflies being called devil's darning needles comes from the idea that dragonflies would sew up the lips of naughty children while they sleep. Have y'all ever heard that? I mean, I always heard sleep tight, don't let the bedbugs bite, but I never heard don't let the dragonflies sew your eyeballs shut. Or what was it? Your lips, right? The lips of naughty children. They're not considered to be sinister everywhere, though. Japanese folklore surrounding the dragonflies is in sharp contrast to the way they have been traditionally perceived in the West. While the West sees them as companions to witches, snakes, and even the devil, Japan sees them as creatures worthy of respect. They are said to be the symbols of courage, success, strength, and even happiness. Dragonfly eyes are a sight to behold. Just like the common housefly, dragonflies have compound eyes, meaning their eyes are actually made up of thousands upon thousands of individual lenses, all taking in information about the surrounding area. The only blind spot is directly behind them. Thanks to their incredible eyes, they are able to pick out a single insect out of a swarm, all the while taking care of their surroundings while flying at high speed. Dragonflies can regulate their body temperature. They're cold-blooded, which means their own bodies don't generate enough heat to sustain themselves. As such, cold-blooded creature needs to attain heat from their environment. They do this by basking in the sun, just like lizards, but this isn't their only trick. They're able to warm themselves up by a process called wing whirling, where they vibrate their wings at such a speed that it generates heat. And while dragonflies do need to warm themselves up to a certain point, they also need to make sure they don't get too hot. And they use a trick called the obelisk pose. You may have even seen them do it and wondered what they're doing. They will go into the obelisk pose by almost going into a handstand and sticking its abdomen high in the air. This helps the dragonfly cool down by reducing the amount of sunlight hitting its body. Now back on the page, you can see that, I decided to do those little spots. I wasn't sure what color I wanted to do them, and I decided I just wanted to do them in a darker blue. If you notice that this pencil is octagonal, it's because I stuck my Polychromos colored pencil in a little jar on my desk and could not find it for the life of me, so I had to pull out my Albrecht drawer, which has the exact same colors in a watercolor form. And here I am using the fingernail polish. So I thought I would point those things out because you might be wondering, why is she using another pencil? It's because she is an idiot, which you all know, but I feel the need to prove to you on a daily basis. They're the oldest insect. Their vision and flight is unmatched, and they're pretty damn beautiful too. Given their extensive history on Earth and their incredible abilities, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up outliving most insects that we know today. Which I would much rather have dragonflies around than cockroaches, because they also are said to live forever. So we're going to go with the dragonflies. All right, y'all, we've only got about 5 minutes left, most of which is going to be me adding more gold to the page, and at the end just showing the two pages together. The one thing that I am contemplating doing that I might do, and you'll have to watch my completed pages video to see if I actually do it, is I may take like Wink Estella or the Winsor & Newton iridescent medium and add it to the dragonfly wings because, y'all, they're iridescent. How can I not? And I apologize for not doing it on camera, but I am just going to put a light layer over the 4 wings and just in that area. And then I'm not going to add any to the page on the right because I can't think of any place that I would want that. So I want to end with the story of the dragonfly, and this is from a hospice site, which I thought was ironic given that my mom is on hospice right now. It says, once in a little pond in the muddy water under the lily pads, there lived a little water beetle in the community of water beetles. They lived a simple and comfortable life in the pond. Once in a while, sadness would come to the community. One of their fellow beetles would climb the stem of a lily pad and would never be seen again. They knew when this happened their friend was dead, gone and forever. Then one day, one little water beetle felt an irresistible urge to climb up that stem. However, he was determined he would not leave forever. He would come back and tell his friends what he had found at the top. When he reached the top, he climbed out of the water onto the surface of the lily pad. He was so tired and the sun felt so warm, he decided he must take a nap. As he slept, his body changed, and when he woke up, he had turned into a beautiful blue-tailed dragonfly with broad wings and a slender body designed for flying. So fly he did, and as he soared, he saw the beauty of a whole new world and a far superior way of life to what he had never known existed. Then he remembered his beetle friends and how they were thinking by now he was dead. He wanted to go back and tell them and explain to them he was more alive now than he had ever been. His life had been fulfilled rather than ended, but his new body would not go down into the water. He could not get back to tell his friends the good news. Then he understood that their time would come as well, when they too would know what he knew. So he raised his wings and flew off into his joyous new life. I think it's interesting that I had no reason for picking these pages other than we're doing every page in the book, so you know, but I didn't really, I just felt called to these pages. And given that story, maybe this is God's way of giving me peace. So I wish you all peace, and I'm going to end with, like a dragonfly, you may embrace change with grace and find beauty in every stage of your journey. So I hope that you too find peace and embrace your change as we go along our journey together. Until next time, happy coloring. Thank you for watching another video from Jazzydoodledesigns. If you'd like even more Jazzydoodle and a little more snark, please check out the membership below. If you're looking for a community where you can share your work and chat with other fellow colorists in a safe and welcoming environment, hit the subscribe button to Jazzydoodledesigns and then look for Jazzydoodledesigns Coloring Community on Facebook. And there you can join a group of fellow colorists to talk all things coloring and share cute pet pictures. I hope to see you there, and until next time, happy coloring.